Do you want your own AI? One that you can make act like Mario, or Carl Jung, or a goldfish? Or how about the embodiment of chaos itself so you can command it to declare war on the city of Minneapolis for you on a random Tuesday? Do you want it to be private so all your data stays on your computer instead of some random server deep in the bowels of a haunted Amazon data center? Do you want it to be uncensored so you don't get responses like this when you decide to wage war against the city of Minneapolis on a random Tuesday? Well, if so, I've got some great news for you. Large language models are some of the most useful tools developed in recent years, and thankfully it has never been easier to install AI models on your computer. With just a few clicks, you can install all the tools you need and have an AI model up and running in minutes. So today we're going to be taking a look at how to install a large language model like ChatGPT or Copilot. This is going to run directly on your computer in an interface that you're already used to, plus it'll come with a lot of extra features that you actually won't get with those online tools. Also, you'll be able to access this from your phone, tablet, or any other device anywhere in the world. And best of all, there is no programming required. So let's take a look at how to get this set up. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is something called the CUDA Toolkit. Now, this is an optional step and actually only applies to you if you have an NVIDIA GPU. If you don't have an NVIDIA GPU, feel free to skip this step using the timestamps in the description, and the rest of the process will work just the same. Now, you're going to find this over at developer.nvidia.com/CUDA Toolkit, and whenever you get here, you're just going to click this Download Now button. That'll take you over to the downloads page where you will simply select your system, and then you will just download one of these installers. The local installer will go ahead and download all of the tools now and then install them on your system at once. The network installer will just download the installer package, and it will download the rest of the tools as it's installing. And as you can see, the instructions are very simple. All you do is double click to run the installer and then follow the on-screen prompts, and you will have the NVIDIA CUDA Toolkit installed on your system. And of course, any of these steps may require a reboot, but for me, I'm going to go ahead and install all of the tools, and then I'll do a single reboot after they're all installed. As I mentioned before, the CUDA Toolkit is an optional step only if you have an NVIDIA GPU. The next 4 steps are required, and the process will be the same on Mac, Windows, and Linux. So the next tool you're going to need is something called Ollama, and you're going to find that over at ollama.com/download. Ollama is just a tool that is actually going to run your AI model for you. Again, this is available for Mac, Linux, and Windows, so just go ahead and select your system and click download. And just like before, it's a simple installer, so double click to run it and then follow the on-screen prompts, and then you will have Ollama installed on your system. Now, the next thing you're going to need is something called Docker, and the version we're going to get is called Docker Desktop, which you will find over at docker.com/products/Docker Desktop. And Docker is basically a process manager. It's going to run programs for you in the background so you don't have to keep a window open all the time while your program is running. In this case, we're going to be using Docker to run a web server on our computer since we'll be interacting with our AI through a web browser. And just like the rest of the tools, this is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. You simply select your system, download the installer, double click to run, and follow the on-screen prompts, and you will have Docker up and running on your system. So the next thing we're going to need is something called GitHub Desktop, which you will find over at desktop.github.com/download. Again, this is a simple installer, so go ahead and download and run that. Once you followed the on-screen prompts, you will have GitHub Desktop installed on your system. Now, the last thing we're going to need is something called WebUI. This is actually going to run in our browser and allow us to interact with our AI model. And as I mentioned before, this thing is packed full of features that you won't get with online tools like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot. To get this, you're just going to head over to openwebui.com, and then of course you can see this button here that says Get Open WebUI. If you click on that, it's going to take you over to their GitHub page, which is the reason that we downloaded GitHub Desktop previously. And make sure to leave the OpenWebUI GitHub page open in your browser because we will need to come back here to copy 2 things from it. So this installation is a little different, but it's actually just as easy as the rest of the steps. All we're going to do is click on this little green button here that says Code, and then we're going to copy this URL that you see here. Once you have that copied, go ahead and open up your GitHub Desktop application. When you open up GitHub Desktop, you're going to see a screen that looks like this, except of course you won't have any downloaded repositories on the left. In order to get our OpenWebUI program, all you have to do is click File, Clone Repository, URL, and then paste in that URL we copied. And then you just want to click this Choose button here to choose a place to save it. The location where you want to save this is totally up to you. Just make sure you save it somewhere where it's not going to change or get deleted. Personally, I like to save these things in my home folder, so if you want to do that, just come over here to the left and click on your username and select folder. Once you've chosen a location, go ahead and click this clone button right here, and that will download the OpenWebUI to the folder that you've selected. And that's actually it. We now have our system set up properly, and all we have to do now is run our AI model. So in order to do this, let's go ahead and start up Docker. When you open up Docker, you're going to see a screen that looks like this, except of course you won't have anything running here yet. And for Docker, we actually don't need to do anything in here. We just needed to get it up and running. Now we can go ahead and close it. And when you close Docker, it's not actually going to close. What it'll do is just minimize down here to your system tray. You can see Docker desktop running right there. Now we get to the part that might be scary for some of you, where we actually open our command prompt, but I promise this is going to be very easy. All we're going to do is copy and paste 2 commands, and then our AI model will be running. Now we're going to get our first command from Ollama. Heading back over to ollama.com, we're just going to click on models in the top right corner. And here you can see a full list of all of the models that Ollama has. Now, of course, I'm not going to go through all of these. You can see they have models from Meta, models from Google, models from NVIDIA, and plenty of others. I will show you how to do it with one, and then if you want to explore any of the others, you'll just do the exact same thing. And the one that I'm going to show you is the one right at the top here, Llama 3.1, which is probably the only one that most of you will need, which of course is the newest model available from Meta. You can click on this drop-down menu on the left to select different sizes of the model. They are essentially all the same, just larger versions. The B just means billion, so you can see this model here has 8 billion parameters, this model here has 70 billion parameters, and this model has 405 billion parameters. On the right, you'll see their associated sizes. And for most people, I would not suggest to run the 70 or 405 billion parameter versions of these models, because as you can see, they are just too large. And aside from that, the 8 billion parameter version of this model is very impressive. It works just as good as the ChatGPT you're already used to, and it will run on most people's computers. So once we've selected our 8 billion parameter version of the model, you can see it gives us a little command to copy right here. All you do is copy that, and we will go to our command prompt. Now all we're going to do is paste this in and press enter, and as you can see, it recognizes that we do not have Llama on our system yet, so it will go ahead and download it for us. And as this is 4.7 gigs, this could take several minutes depending on your internet connection. After it's done downloading the model, you can see it's going to download a few more parameter files, and then it will go ahead and run the model for you. So of course this isn't the way we're going to be using this model, but you can go ahead and type in a message for it right here and hit enter, and you can see it is lightning fast. And since this isn't the way that we're actually going to be using this model, we're just going to type /by, BYE, and hit enter, and that will stop it. And now all we have to do is paste in one more command, and we will have our model running in our web browser just like you're used to with ChatGPT, except it's going to be private, of course, and it will have many more features and be much more customizable. And so we're going to get our final command from the Open WebUI GitHub page. If you scroll down, you will see a section that says how to install. As you can see, it says if Ollama is on your computer, use this command. And since we already have Ollama on our computer, that is the command we need. And you're going to want to run this command from within the Open WebUI folder that we downloaded before. So just remember where you saved that, and we will navigate to it. For those of you who are new to navigating your system in the command prompt, it is very easy. There are only 2 commands that you really need to know right now. One is called CD, and that stands for change directory. The other is called dir, and that just lists out anything in the directory you're currently in. So as you can see, I'm in my home directory, which is just /users/Jonathan, which is my username on my computer. And if I wanted to see everything that's in this folder, I would just type dir and hit enter. And there we go. Now it lists out all of the folders that are in my home directory. And again, if you look in my file explorer, you can just click on your home directory right there. And you can see that all of the folders listed here in my file explorer are the same as the ones that are listed here in my command prompt. So in order to change into that folder that we downloaded previously, we're just going to use this cd command. And you can go ahead and start typing the name of the folder and then hit the tab key to autocomplete. This is the same on Linux, Mac, and Windows, except on Mac and Linux, it is case sensitive. On Windows, it is not. So for me, I have saved mine in this local AI folder. So if I wanted to change into that folder, I would just start typing LOC and then hit tab. And as you can see, it autocompletes completes it for me. Then I can hit enter, and that will change me into that folder. You can type dir again, and that will list out all of the folders within that folder. And again, if you want to see that in the file explorer, you can see those 3 folders are listed right here. And then I actually have my Open WebUI saved under UI, Open WebUI. So to get into that, we would just go ahead and use our cd command again, cd into UI, hit tab, do the /, and then you can go ahead and type open tab, and you can see it auto completes, of course, enter. There we are. If we type dir, we can see that all of these listed in here are the same as all of these listed right here. And this is the place where we actually want to enter that command. So go ahead and paste that in now, and then just hit enter. And now if you jump back over to Docker, you will see that you have Open WebUI running right here on port 3000. And then we can go into our web browser. And to get to this, you're just going to type localhost :3000. Localhost just means your computer. So if you type in localhost in any web browser, all it's doing is looking for a web server running on your computer. And then the :3000 just means that that is going to be accessible on port 3000. So this is looking at your computer for a web server running on port 3000. And if we hit enter, of course, we can see that it takes us right to it. And the first time you come here, you will see this sign-in screen where you can make an account. And that might seem a little bit confusing since this is running on your computer, but this is not an account somewhere on the internet. This is just a local account on your computer only. And the reason for doing it this way is so if there are other people using your computer, you can each sign into your own account and use your own AI models. So just go ahead and click sign up right there, enter your details, and click create account. Now, as I said before, this thing is packed full of features. So of course I can't go through all of them in this short video, but if you'd like to see that, be sure to check the description for my video where I walk you through all of the features and settings. However, the interface is very similar to what you might already be used to. And so for now, I will just show you a few things to get you started. And so of course, the first and most important thing is going to be how to access the settings, which you can do from the bottom left corner right here, or from the top right corner right here. And from there, you can go into interface to change how things look. You can go into your account settings to change your name, password, or profile picture. And if you have multiple models installed on your system, you can access them through this drop-down menu right here. This is the Llama 3.1 that we downloaded earlier, and we can go ahead and chat with it right here. And just like with ChatGPT, you can turn on web search, or you can upload photos or other files that you want your AI model to analyze. And you can also do speech to text right here. Hello, how are you today? Now, one feature that I will mention right here is this call button, which will allow you to have an ongoing conversation with your AI. Hello, how are you today?
Hi there. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's great to meet a friendly person like you.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. What are you having for lunch today?
To be honest, I'm not really having lunch. I'm just a computer program, so I don't get hungry like humans do. But if you're looking for some lunch ideas, I can try to suggest some things.
And then you can just hit the little X there to stop the conversation. And of course, you can see it has the text version of the conversation right there. And the last thing I'll mention is this workspace area right here, where you can upload documents or create custom prompts, and you can actually create custom models of your own. So you can see I have these standard models that are downloaded from Ollama, but right here I have this model named Tyler Durden. And that is simply a model that I have told to act like it is Tyler Durden from the movie Fight Club. And in order to do that, all you have to do is click on this create model right here. You can give it a name, a description, and then you can tell it how to act. You can see the example prompt here that says you are Mario from Super Mario Brothers acting as an assistant. So you can have an AI model that acts like Mario or Luigi or someone from Super Mario Brothers. Or if you'd like to just download a model that people have already made, you can click on this. And this will take you to Open WebUI's community page where you can download models models and prompts and tools from other people in the community. This one looks interesting. This model is supposed to act like my goldfish fin. So obviously someone has made a model to act like a goldfish. And you can see an example of the system prompt that you might give your model if you want it to act like a goldfish. Okay, so that is going to do it for this one, guys. As I said before, if you want to see the video where I walk you through all of the features and settings of the Open WebUI, be sure to check the description for that. If you're wanting to do image, video, and song generation, be sure to check out my videos on those. They are just as simple and easy as this one. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe if you found this helpful. You can also find free downloads on my Patreon, as well as book one-on-one AI training sessions with me. And if you'd like to support my work, there are links for that in the description as well. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments, and I will see you next time. Take care.